This video is intended to walk you through the initial steps of creating a Google site for your portfolio for core writing classes at UNM in the English department. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go to sites.google.com and make sure you're logged in with your Gmail account. If you don't have a Gmail account, you'll have to create one. Next thing you're going to do is go up here and create a blank one or select from a template. As long as you have all the features that I have displayed in the sample portfolio, so the 3 different pages for your main projects and a page for reflections with sub pages, and I'll show you how to create those in a moment. As long as you have all those elements, you can customize any of the options. This one looks really interesting, the portfolio one, and especially if you're going to be using a lot of multimodal elements or pictures, it might be fun to experiment. But just to get you started, we're going to look at the blank one. So what's really important about this is this area over here. The content blocks, the pages, and the themes are also fun. So the first thing that I would do is put your name up front on this home page. And down here, we're going to look at the content blocks and just add one in. You can also add in a text box and drag it around so that you have some options to play with here. You can put your About Me section here, and if you're wondering how to customize it to make it look more like a title, you can just set the font as a title, and you have a lot of different fonts to choose from here that you can just, as much as you want, just make sure that from a design standpoint, you make sure that all of your fonts match ultimately. And I would stay away from some of these like Lobster and Pacifico, just because they're not user-friendly for everybody. But most of these fonts are great, and just pick one that makes you happy. And then if you want to put some additional text under About Me, you would just hit text box again, and you can change the font to whatever you want. Just make sure they match, like I said. And you can do all of the normal things that you would think to be able to do with the text. You can try centering it, justifying it across, whatever makes you happy. Here you can add a picture, you can upload your own personal image, you can use a picture from Drive, you can select an image, you could also upload YouTube videos and insert them. So you have a lot of options here. There are a number of other content blocks that you can choose from, and you can also just customize it. If you go all the way down here, you can have a divider that you can add. You can add in, let's see, this is where you would put your doc underneath that potentially. We won't get into that right now though. So there's like a lot of options for you to play around with here. Now let's look at how you would add an additional page. So go over to pages and you have the home page, and we can rename that to anything you want really, but we'll call it the portfolio home just to be consistent. And then you can just start adding pages. So you hit this big plus button down here, and the first page we're going to work on is going to be MWA1 memoir. And now if you look at it, you have 2 pages. You have your name and you have the first one. What I would suggest doing, just to be a little bit more expeditious about this, is to make use of this duplicate page option. So what you'll want to do is go back to Insert, and you can just add a text box. So maybe put your introduction to the project here. And if you look back at the sample, we're already on our way to creating the elements that we have here. So again, just to repeat before, you can put another text box, put it up here, type in introduction, and change the text change the text to a heading or a subheading, up to you, and then add in the actual introduction beneath that. You can also change the location of this within its little area. You see these margins actually show up to help, or guidelines rather. So you have a lot of options with that, and then you would just add your project here. You can switch these around to relocate things if you want. So there's like a lot of fun you can have here. You can just keep adding images, add more text areas, and then don't forget you also have this option here. So adding once you've got this set up, it might behoove you to just duplicate the page and title it, whatever the next one is for your class. That way you already have these elements in place and you don't have to repeat making them again. And you can just do that as many times as you want. The last page that you need to create is the reflection page. Which has a number of sub-pages depending on which class you're in. You may have 3 student learning outcomes that you need to work with in your portfolio. You may have as many as 8, I think. So what you want to do is add a sub-page. So we'll just say the first one is A, and you can tell that it's a little bit indented. You can continue duplicating these, but again, we're going to save ourselves some work and go ahead and add in our main elements here that we're looking for. So if you go to the sample and you examine the different student learning outcomes that are presented there, you can see that I have it set up where you have the actual student learning outcome text here. You can get this off the syllabus or off of the sample website. But all you would do is paste that text in, and it's already formatted correctly because I took it off the website. But if it wasn't, you would just change it. Like, notice that I've got a different font here than what I have, at most for this. So I'm just going to change the font to make it match, and then you would add another text box and do your typing about student learning outcome A here. So that's already set up. If I go back to pages, I can just hit duplicate page and then change this to student learning outcome B, and so on and so forth through all of the student learning outcomes. Don't forget you do have to go back and customize it. It's just you're saving yourself a little bit of work, but not all the work. So hopefully that is helpful. The last thing to look at is the themes. There's a lot of fun themes, and you can also customize them a lot. So let's say we wanted to do diplomat, and let's see if it changes all of them. It does. That's very handy. And you can pick your own color here for the background, and you can also change the font if you want it to be a little bit more customized. So you have a lot of options here. For some of these, you can also change the background image, like this one. You can change the image if you'd like. So you have a lot of options to play around with, and I think that you should try to enjoy making your portfolio for your core writing class, because I think it's a lot of fun to play around with Google Sites. And hopefully this has been a educational video, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to your instructor.